Welcome back to day 27 of our one pose a day for 100 days. Thanks for sticking with us. And today's practice, so important. Every yoga class you come to sit down on the floor. How do we sit comfortably on the mat? Comfortably and with good posture is really the idea. So on all of our videos before, when I was sitting, I'm always propped on a blanket. Granted, I could sit pretty nice and tall just on the floor. That's an option. I'm just so used to using a mat, and it really does make it nice and easeful for my spine. The idea is to get the hips lifted a bit higher off the floor so they can roll forward. So I'm going to demonstrate for you, and then we'll practice together once we find the pose, the position that works for you. So a lot of times we're sitting on the floor, either our knees are up high, and then when that happens, we round our back and our spine and we're kind of slouching. This is really what we're trying to offset here in yoga, getting some nice posture. So if we can't sit up tall without too much strain or work, we need to use our props. Remember, props are our friends. Keep repeating that to yourself. So first option is a blanket. And I use the smooth folded edge of the blanket, not just so it's nice for the hips as I sit on the blanket. And now cross-leg pose or Sukhasana is really where the legs are crossed. You might know it as crisscross applesauce or something like that, where your feet are under your calves or knees, tucked under the legs. So when I sit like that, you'll notice as I sit more towards the front edge of the blanket, it allows your hips to roll forward and let your spine stay stacked nice and easily over the hips. If I sit a little bit farther back, I might be more apt to roll my hips and my tailbone towards the back and just sit kind of like this. Even though it does get the knees lower, the idea is the hips are higher, helps the knees come a little bit lower to the floor. Now, another option, you could even add another blanket. Get a little bit higher. It doesn't matter. Remember, you're doing what's right for you. Our only concern is what's on our own mat. Other options, blocks. If our knees are really high, and this is when you're going to sit on the floor for a long time. These are when you really use your blocks, like the beginning of class, when you do your starting kind of check-in or breath arrival. You want to be nice and comfortable and really think about my sit bones are grounded. I'm lengthening up through the crown of the head. So blocks under the knees is another way. You can turn them on the edge and have them nice and supported. That gives, if your knees are really high, that gives them something to press down into. When you press down, that helps the spine to lengthen. So there's another option there. All right, we talked about possibly 2 blankets. If you don't have so many blankets available in your yoga class, you can sit on a block. Now, I like to take 2 side by side. If you only have 1, that's great too, but sometimes our hips need a little more support. I bring the 2 short ends of the block together. Let me just demonstrate there. So it's long ways, it gives me more room for my hips, and I sit up on the blocks. And that way, if my knees are high, it starts to let the knees come down, and I'm still thinking of my hips rolling forward. As the knees come down, the hips can roll forward and allow your spine to stack, and then the whole body to release, shoulders, arms, and a little bit more relaxing. So blocks are really nice too. I just brought along the bolster. Sometimes yoga classes have a bolster. These are so comfortable, really nice to sit on. So just like a blanket, but they're a bit firmer. So 2 blankets might get a little bit too squishy. So you can always use a bolster, nice and firm. There we go. Get me up higher and then sit in my cross leg or Sukhasana pose. So now Sukhasana, if the knees are not happy, different options. Swastikasana is where the feet actually cross. So the knees go wider, so it gives more space for the knees. You could also put one foot and leg in front of the other. It's always good too in yoga class, if you're sitting cross-legged for a while, or in this position, swastikasana, to switch the cross of the legs, just so you're balancing out your bodies. This is a really nice one I like too, because it's rolling my hips forward and getting my legs down to the floor. So that's swastikasana. Still, if that's not good for your knees, another option is Baddha Konasana, or bound angle pose. So lots of times bound angle pose, I'm going to get off of this bolster because I find this for me is too high and I'm kind of rolling off of it. Come back to my blanket. Still, you can use either one of those. So bound angle pose, still sitting forward on that rolled edge. Your feet come together. A lot of times you're going to see in yoga class your heels are really close in towards your hips. The trouble with that, it's great if we're there, right, and I'm still able to sit up tall, but our knees could be really up here, and when our knees are so high and we're trying to hold on, we're rounding our spine. So the idea there is slide, the hips are tight, knees are tight, slide the feet farther away from your hips, giving a bigger diamond shape between the legs. Perfectly fine as well, especially if, again, this is nice. You can hold on to the knees or shins to help pull and lengthen the spine, pulling the spine a little forward and letting the shoulders relax down. So third position, using multiple heights, that is an option depending on your body. Last one I want to demonstrate, and then we'll just do a little breath practice together once we find the pose we're in. Maybe down on the floor, crossing your legs, all of that is just really not good. We could come into, it's a modified Virasana pose where we're on our knees. And if you're on your knees, use padding, use the blanket. I'm going to show you from the side. So a couple options here, using a block right between my feet and my ankles. So long edge, so you're giving yourself more space for your hips to sit on. So I put it between, my ankles are touching, and then I sit back towards my heels. Now this isn't for everyone because it's a big stretch for the knees. So if your knees aren't happy like that, find one of the others, probably Baddha Konasana. An idea when you come into Virasana, and we'll teach this one again later, take your thumbs and pull the calves out from under the legs, giving you more space. If we need to, you can always prop it up again with another block. Get a little bit higher. Perfectly fine. So any of these positions allows you to sit on the floor and for a longer period of time. So let's find what works for you. Test it out. Props are your friends. You want to be able to sit relatively easily on the floor with your spine nice and long without feeling like you're straining. And the way to check into that is also in with the breath. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to sit in a swastikasana pose with my knees a little bit wider and feet kind of tucked in under my thighs. And we'll take some nice shoulder circles. Find your position, might take you a second, so don't rush to get into it. When you get there, take some shoulder circles. And then circle the other way. And then when the shoulders come down, let's do one together where we're rolling the shoulders forward, up, back and down, just to get the shoulders down the back and the chest nice and open. And we can let our hands rest anywhere they're comfortable, maybe on your knees or your thighs. Or if you're sitting in Baddha Konasana, you might have them in front of the knees to help lengthen the spine. Perfectly fine. And we'll take a couple nice breaths here. You're welcome to soften your gaze or close your eyes or looking downward at the floor in front of you. Take a nice inhale through your nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Let's do that again. Inhaling through the nose, and as you exhale, feel the shoulders soften, the sit bones grounding down into the floor beneath you. Doing that again. Nice inhale through the nose. And exhale. Come back to your own natural breathing. Check in with the body. Observe, what are you noticing sensation-wise in the sit bones, the hips, the knees, the feet, the lower back or spine, and all the way up either side of your spine, those spinal muscles, and the tops of the shoulders. If you're noticing any crankiness, discomfort, holding, gripping, pain, come out of it. Lift a little higher, find another position, or can you breathe gently into it and allow the body to relax? And also notice the breathing. The breath is a great sign of how our body is doing. If your body's feeling pain, a lot of times the body will shorten the breath or hold the breath without releasing the full exhale. It won't feel smooth or easeful. Whenever you notice that, it's a good time to change the pose, back out of it, or come out altogether. You can find a nice easeful breath. Let's take 3 more. Smooth inhales through the nose. Smooth exhales, nose or mouth. Allowing your body to ground down into the floor beneath you. But feel that same rise up the back of the body, through the crown of the head, lifting you. And after your next full exhale, if the eyes are closed, open the eyes. Thank you for joining this one pose practice today, learning various poses on how to most comfortably sit on the floor in a yoga class. All right, let's take a nice closing breath together. Take a nice inhale, draw your palms overhead. Exhaling, palms together and down. I thank you for joining this practice today. Please leave any comments or feedbacks. Hope you subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.